Hey guys, welcome back. Shock here for the final part 3 of our GOAT format video series where I'm going to be taking a look at a bunch of different GOAT decks. This is the final one, of course. We're going to be looking at Shining Angel Chaos or Chaos Control, however you really want to call it. This is a deck that's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I do think is a really fun deck to play. Kind of a middle ground between Chaos Turbo, I would say, with Thunder Dragon and GOAT Control as far as like difficulty. And I would say this deck is a little bit more of a mid-range deck, and then it can do a little bit of everything, but it definitely has weaknesses, kind of going back and forth, less versatility, and sometimes field clogging, unlike GOAT Control. And then it's not as fast or as efficient at pumping out Chaos monsters as Chaos Turbo, but overall a really nice like middle ground to both of those decks. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Hopefully you guys like this video series. We'll be taking a look at this deck, and I'll show you guys my card choices and all that good stuff. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments, but we'll get straight into it. So first off, let's get into the main deck with the monsters. So we run, I think, 19 monsters, actually. It's a pretty high number. We run the 1 BLS and the 2 Chaos Sorcerer. So as you can see, I think in every single list I've posted for GOAT format, everybody plays BLS. It's the best card of the format. And this list specifically is only running 2 Chaos Sorcerer because our deck isn't focused as much as just turboing out cards as quickly as possible, but using the best light and dark monsters in the format in our deck, using those effects up as best we can, and then the aftermath is using those cards to summon the BLS and the Chaos Sorcerer for extra advantage. So obviously there's not much needs to be said about these cards. They're incredibly powerful. And yep, let's get going on to these next cards here. So a little bit of a kind of unorthodox thing here is we do play the 1 Parshath, and this is basically player preference, but sometimes people play tributes in this deck, sometimes people don't. A lot of times some of the issues that this deck has is the fact that they don't play tributes because, like I was trying to allude to before, sometimes this deck has issues with clogging up the board with too many monsters, with things like Scapegoat and stuff like that, maybe having a Tur left on the field, or maybe having a flip effect staying on the field. Pretty much the worst enemy of this deck is like just not attacking their monsters, because that's like really the only way our cards go to the graveyard. So we try and play cards to apply pressure so that they have to remove our monsters, but regardless, Parshath is one of those monsters. It also removes specific cards that you'd want to get to the graveyard, like a Thousand Eyes Restrict, or like a Moth, or whatever, you know. But just playing one of it, I was considering playing the second tribute, but I did think it got kind of bricky. You could definitely main a second tribute if you wanted to go that route. I just realized that your deck is going to be slightly brickier, although this deck isn't the it's a very interesting deck. We'll kind of continue on here, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So it just basically tries to play, again, like I said, the best of every kind of card in the game here. So the 3 Shining Angel and the 1 DD Warrior Lady. So these cards have to be talked about together because the whole kind of appeal with this deck, instead of playing Thunder Dragon, which that card's very good, Shining Angel is probably the second best thing you can play besides Thunder Dragon. And Shining Angel is really nice because it baits out Nobleman's Crossouts. It also lets you out Chaos monsters really easily, because a lot of times they're scared to attack into your monsters, so your monsters will just sit there. And then if you want to start poking for advantage or attacking them, you can use Shining Angel to do that. If they do end up getting rid of a face-down Shining Angel with an attacking monster, you can get out the DD Warrior Lady, which can then remove whatever threat you're worried about. So very nice stuff. It's very, very strong. And then exactly how my GOAT list is, my GOAT control list, we have the 2 Merchant and the 2 Moth. So the Merchant and the Moth can actually be tutored out with Shining Angel, which is a huge benefit for this deck. And you can really take advantage of that actually by using your Tsukiyomi. So when you have Shining Angel get destroyed, you have Tsukiyomi in hand, you can easily go ahead and get a Moth use Tsukiyomi, flip it face down, flip it back face up, grab a pot of greed, grab whatever you really need for whatever situation, and Tsukiyomi kind of can do that for you. Tsukiyomi is a little bit of a slower card and has kind of come out of favor now that Thousand Eyes Restrict isn't as popular of a card, but in this specific deck, I think it's really strong, so we do run 2 of it. Then we are playing 2 Kaiku. So Kaiku is very important, I specifically think, for this variant of the deck, because you really need to be able to stop your opponent from summoning Chaos Monsters. Pretty much the only deck that gives this deck trouble, I would say, is your Chaos Turbo matchup, because they just summon their monsters too quickly and you can't deal with them quickly enough. They'll usually overwhelm you with advantage. But Kaiku's really good because it stops that. Now, against Go Control, this deck has a pretty good matchup, so meaning that Kaiku's not that bad. And yeah, you really don't have a horrible time with Go Control. It's usually like a 50-50 matchup, I would say, maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah, Go Control is a fun matchup, but definitely with this card, this helps our Chaos matchup, which is definitely our hardest matchup, the Chaos Turbo one. And then you are playing the 1 Breaker, the 1 Sangan, and the 1 Sinister, because of course we are playing Metamorphosis. This card is just insane, and so is Breaker's just really good too. So having Breaker plus the 2 Kaiku is really good for beat sticks. Moving on to spells. Right now, I'm running 3 Book of the Moon. It's okay. Kind of the reason you run 3 Book of Moon is because there really aren't any other cards you want to play that do the same thing Book of Moon does. You know it disrupts your opponent. It stops pushes for OTKs. Like I said, it's the best -1 out there. You can use it to interact with your own cards a lot. You can use it to attack over monsters. So it does quite a bit. But that being said, kind of the reason why this deck, I feel like, isn't as good as it used to be is because this deck really struggles with getting over face down monsters. But there aren't a whole lot of solutions to that specifically for this deck. Things like Creature Swap I feel like is much better for Go Control, especially since Tsukiyomi isn't the best card to use with Creature Swap. You really want to use Azura Priest, but you really don't want to play Azura Priest in this deck because you already play so many mandatory lights. So it's just kind of a hard balance, and Book of Moon really does help you play, but specifically against the meta being Thunder Dragon, Chaos Turbo, it's not the best card, so just keep that in mind. The 2 Metamorphosis, you don't want to play 3 because this deck will basically brick if you play 3. It's too much because you're trying to do so many things in this deck, you really will kind of be in a bad spot. The 1 Scapegoat, I played this forever at 2, but realistically you can't because, again, it clogs your fields, so you gotta just play 1 of it. I really liked 2 for a while, but it really does hurt you quite a bit. Then you're playing 2 Noblemen, just because it's the best card in the format. Not really much more to say about it. You guys should already know this card's insane. Your 1-ofs, your Delinquent Duo, your Pot of Greed, your Graceful Charity, these are obvious, you have to play them. Your Heavy Storm, your MST, Premature Burial, and Snatch Steal. So I am running 1 Revival card. I'm not running the Call of the Haunted, but I am playing the Premature Burial because I think personally Premature Burial is a lot more of an aggressive and powerful card. It works really well with any of your Chaos Monsters and Airknight Pershath, and specifically Kaiku. So it does quite a bit of work. It's also pretty good with Sangan. So, you know, this deck basically tries to walk the line between Chaos and between Go Control, and as you can see kind of through my card choices, that's basically what it ends up doing. And then running onto this traps here, kind of a weird trap lineup, but I'll kind of explain to you why I picked what I picked. So 3 Solemn Judgment. So Solemn Judgment might seem like a weird pick for some people, for this deck specifically, but the reason why you play Solemn Judgment in this deck is 1, you really can defend your life points very well when you're playing things like Solemn Judgment and Book of Moon, and the 1 Scapegoat and your Shining Angels protects your life points, and we're playing, of course, the other staples being the TT, the Ring, and the Mirror Force. So the judgment is pretty much there so that you have access to dealing with flip effect monsters very consistently. Being able to respond to your opponent's powerful T-set with a T-set of your own, but you set the Solemn Judgment, means that not only can you stop like a very powerful spell card, but you can also stop a very powerful flip effect monster effect, right? Like if they go Pot of Greed and then they draw 2, right? And they flip up Moth, you can Solemn Judgment the Moth, right? I mean, either way, it kind of depends on what you're really looking for there. Either way, they're going to resolve the Pot of Greed, but at least you can either negate the Pot of Greed or you can negate the Moth flip effect. So kind of the same result either way, but Solemn Judgment really important for stopping those really powerful plays that they have. And also it's really nice at protecting your own back row, because we do play the 3 Solemn Judgment along with the TT, the Ring, the Mirror Force, and the 3 book. It's quite a lot of back row, so it does help us protect our back row and kind of threaten our opponent in a way. So I really do think Solemn Judgment is the best card probably to play for this deck right now, just to kind of round out the whole deck and the whole strategy, especially with the meta being so much Chaos Turbo. So yeah, that'll actually do it for the list, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But that is the Chaos Control Shining Angel deck. And let me know if you guys want to see any other Go Control decks. I could potentially do like a Chaos Warrior deck or an anti-meta Warrior deck. I have in the past done Water Goat decks, but it's kind of not that great. Trying to think of other goat decks that I have that I could profile for you. Let me know, guys. Give me some requests for other goat decks that you might want. I also have Gravekeepers as well. So those are all the options I have. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.